Welcome to 5 Good Minutes
You're listening to today's inspirational message on the book of Esther
with Brady Randall.
Today we're going to look at Esther chapter 5, verse 4, and in part 1, we saw Esther's preparation and focusing on God. And if you listened to yesterday, we looked at her calm in the midst of the storm, which comes from trusting in a big sovereign God. And today we read in verse 4 this: "If it pleases the king," replied Esther, "let the king, together with Haman, come today to a banquet that I prepared for him." Kay Warhite is someone that I've worked with at the Butler campus for a number of years, and she pointed out to me the importance of Esther's self-control here in this text. While she was fasting, at the same time, she was preparing a banquet. Can you imagine that? You know, the worst time to go to the grocery store is when you're hungry. And I've got very little self-control in the grocery store, especially when I'm hungry. I'm throwing every snack in the basket, every cookie. I'm loading up on lunch meat and cereal because I see it, I'm hungry, and I want it. But not Esther. She recognizes the bigger picture. She's trusting in the hand of God, and she knew that this is what the king liked best. And this was right up her alley, so she knows that this will be the best thing for her cause with the king. She knows that if the men are full and not hungry, they're liable to be more relaxed. And I was reminded in verse 4 not only of Esther's self-control, but in the need for self-control in all of the Christian life. And I know that doesn't sound all that fun. In fact, that might make you think of monks and monasteries and party poopers. And it may give you a negative view of the Christian faith. But self-control really provides ultimate freedom. Self-control is about saying no to something now so that you might say yes to something better in the future. That's what Esther was after. She took the long view, and that's what you and I are really encouraged to do today. I think about Jesus, who before his public ministry, he was fasting and praying for 40 days in the wilderness. And at his hungriest, Satan came and tempted him, telling them that he could make the stones become bread because he was the Son of God. And certainly Jesus could have. But he responded, "Humans don't live on bread alone, but on every word that proceeds from the mouth of the Father." Jesus took the long view, and he didn't give in to the easy way. The Apostle Paul said in 1 Corinthians 9, starting in verse 24, "Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way to get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Therefore, do not run like someone running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. No, I strike a blow to my body, and I make it my slave so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize." Now, I'm not a runner. I occasionally do some running, but I have such admiration for runners, especially those who run long distances like marathons. I have friends who train for marathons every year, and what an intense amount of time and training. And when you talk to them, it's not just about crossing the finish line or beating their best time, but it's really about seeing what they can put their mind and body to, how they can stretch themselves more than they can imagine, because they know that if they can do it for a marathon, they can do it for something else. That's the kind of self-control that I think Paul and Esther and Jesus exhibited and calls us to. But it's not so much for how we can do. It's about keeping the bigger picture in mind, keeping your eye on the prize. What's your bigger yes? Sometimes our yes to everything we want now, it spoils the prize in the end. It's like stuffing ourselves on junk food before a gourmet feast. And God says, I've got something better for you. Keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye on the long game and do it all for a crown that will last. See, I'm reminded that this life is so short compared to eternity. God reminds you and I that he has something far better, himself and eternity with him, and he promises it will be worth it in the end. But you and I can only exhibit so much self-discipline with our own strength before we simply just want to give up. But when your purpose is for something greater, something beyond yourself, it makes it worth it in the end. And so may you and I experience the freedom and joy that comes from self-discipline of keeping our eyes on Jesus and his eternal purposes.
Thanks for joining us here today.
There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day.